Good morning, everyone, or good evening, depending where you are. I'm so happy to be here with you, and thank you for your presence. Thank you for co-creating together this holy encounter, which is a portal of light, a way of connecting with the presence of Christ, with the reality of what we truly are. So thank you very much for making this possible in the presence of our Divine Mother, who is here around us and in us, extending her love to each of us and from us to the rest of the world, to all our brothers and sisters around the world, and finally to the whole universe. Thank you because you make this possible with your presence, with your yes to love. We receive the gift of the embrace of Mary here in these holy encounters, and also the gift of an angel. And this is possible because of your willingness to live by the truth of who you are. As we always do, I'm going to say hello to each of you as an act of acknowledging our singularity, the unique way of being that only you can be, which is sacred, and our Divine Mother wants us to honor that singularity so we can recognize how much God loves diversity. Union within diversity is one of the manifestations of the divine love. We are all equal in essence, but different in the manifestation of the divine love. Jesus says, there is no something like a world to which I talk to, because the world is a concept. I talk to you and I do it to your heart. So for us, it's very important to honor the way we are, to honor our humanity. So thank you, Susanna, for being here today. I'm so happy to see you. Thank you very much. Also, Sarah, Joyji, thank you. And thanks for the beautiful audiobook that you recorded. Yesterday, I received the sample from Sarah, and I used it the whole evening before finishing the day, drinking the beauty of the energy of the words that you express in your beautiful voice. So thank you very much for that. Thank you, Reverend Rita Joy. I'm happy to see you again. Mark, thank you, my friend. We wait for you again here at Refuge of Divine Love. Whenever you can come, you are always welcome. Thank you, Jack, Peter, Rosa, Julia, Lena. I'm happy to see you. Alice, I'm also happy to see you. When I saw you, I thought, well, we were planning to have a conversation maybe today or tomorrow, but we can be here, which is much better, so we can see each other. So thank you for coming. Also, Christy and Ruben, thank you very much for your presence in this community and for being who you are. You are the gift. You are the gift that we receive from heaven, which is sacred. So thank you very much. And I would like to take this opportunity also to thank those who are going to join us later on, or they will join us through the videos that we share. No matter whether you are here now in time and space or not. Fortunately, love has no limits, so you will receive the gift of the embrace of Mary and the gift of an angel, as we always receive here. And that love, that gift, is going to transform our humanity, bringing joy, serenity, peace, and miracles. We are here to remember who we are. And this is what we do here in union and relationship. So also thank you for allowing me to remember my true identity in Christ. Our Divine Mother said, you will never be able to remember God just by yourself, just alone, because God is union and relationship. So relationships are sacred for this movement of beautiful love, which is the name that our Divine Mother gives to this movement of consciousness. She is here helping us to move from the state of separation, which is a state in which we deny the relationship. And she helps us to move to the state of union, union with ourselves, union with our true identity, union with our brothers and sisters, union of love with nature, with every single aspect of creation, including animals, plants, and elements. And that is the reason why we also bring here to every single aspect of creation, including our brothers and sisters all around the world and nature. So we return back to oneness, to the totality that we truly are. Love is union. And this is the experience that we come here to receive. As we always do, we are going to organize this holy encounter, dividing it into 3 sections. The first one is dedicated to silence, a silence in which we rest in peace. A silence that means connection to the divine reality that lives in us, from where everything that is sacred, holy, and pure is manifested and created through us. It is a silence in which we listen. We listen to the voice of love, talking to our heart without words. The silence of our heart is a temple where we remember through the experience of that reality that is beyond words, beyond thoughts, beyond ideas and concepts. But it embraces everything in the light of love. We rest in peace here in the presence of our Divine Mother during that moment of silence, a moment of deep connection with our heart. We give all our worries, all our problems, all our thoughts, ideas, interpretations. We give all of them to our Divine Mother so we can rest in peace. She's going to take care of everything. We rest in her arms as a little baby who rests in the arms of a mother. We have a Divine Mother, and she wants to take care of everything in our life. So we trust in her love and we rest in peace. taking distance from all our interpretations so we can open a gate through which the divine wisdom can be revealed to our mind and heart. The second section is going to be dedicated to spiritual reading to help us to remember the voice of love that talks constantly to our soul through the words that we are going to receive. They are not just words. They are expression of the Christ consciousness. And we receive them as they are. Love letters coming from the universal consciousness of love to our humanity. They bring an energy. They bring power because they come from the Holy Spirit. The third section is dedicated to sharing. So we can share in union and relationship our humanity, either in silence or using our human voice, moved by the Holy Spirit in the sacredness of what we are. Sharing from heart to heart is also very important for the new, because the new is going to be unfolded in union and relationship and from the heart of who we are. That's why our Divine Mother wants us to have the opportunity to participate in these encounters in which we have the opportunity to come to rest in silence without using our voice, or to share whatever we think or we feel related to the message that we are going to receive. Before moving ahead, I would like to organize the reading section so we can move to the time of silence. I would like to share with you from Choose Only Love, book number 6, chapter 13, on page 174. Again, this is from Choose Only Love, book number 6, chapter 13, the fourth subtitle, which is Live in Love. If there is anyone who wants to read, please let me know so we can organize the reading section. Thank you. I want to write Joyji as it is on the screen. Thank you, Joyji, Sarah, then Reverend Rita Joy, Jack, Peter. I'm so happy to see you, Peter. Then we have Alice. So we have Joyji, Sarah, Reverend Rita Joy, Jack, Peter, and Alice. I hope I didn't miss anyone. And as we always do, I'm going to begin, and then we keep with the sequence of readers. I think it would be a good idea for today to read 2 paragraphs each reader, so the text can flow better according to my way of thinking and feeling. So I'm going to begin with the first 2 paragraphs, and then 2 paragraphs Joyji, 2 paragraphs Sarah, and so on until Alice. If for any reason when you have to read the chapter is finished, don't worry, because you can keep going with the next chapter, so we can listen to the voice of love in your human voice, which is very important for our Divine Mother. So thank you for giving your voice to this message. One of the reasons why our Divine Mother wants us to have this experience of listening to these words in different human voices is because it helps us deeply in our consciousness to remember the truth of who we are. And that is because God is infinite diversity, and you are one of those aspects of that diversity. That's why Jesus said, you are the face of God that only you can be. And that is your uniqueness. And because our voice is connected to our identity, when we listen to the same and unique voice of truth being expressed in different human voices, we remember the totality and the part, which is the integration of everything into the love that we are. We are the totality, but at the same time, we are the part. God is in me as I am in you, and everyone is in God. That is how creation is. The totality is completely in each part. Jesus said once to me, you are not a little droplet, or a little drop of an ocean. He said, rather, the ocean is in you as a little drop. It is the ocean who is inside the droplet. Because we are not separated from God. God is in us. The connection between the totality and the part, the ocean and the drop of water, is what we come to remember. That is what we are. And we can help our humanity to remember that through the experience of listening to the one voice of God, the unique voice of love in many different expressions of different voices. And this is what we receive when you give your voice to the voice of divinity, through reading and sharing, through your uniqueness, the totality of God. So thank you. Thank you very much for your generosity and for your presence. And now I invite you to remain one more minute in silence, to go deeper into the stillness of your heart, to where you can feel the fullness of who you are, to the temple where you are safe, always safe, where you are loved, always loved, where you are complete in the embrace of God. In that temple, the temple of the silence of your heart, you are not alone. You are with everyone and everything, because we are union and relationship. You have never been alone, and you will never be. We go to the center of who we are, to remember, to rest in peace, to be healed, and to heal others. I also invite you to listen to short music that will help us to connect with the remembrance of our true identity through our heart. Live in love. Living in love with Christ is the desire of a soul that seeks union with God and is the gift it receives. The Creator does not deny a beloved soul the opportunity to show love in 1,000 ways. Every expression of this mystic master is necessary for two reasons. First, because the loving heart cannot bear not to express it. And second, because the knowledge that the mind acquires in serving others within the purpose of heaven is how to make the face of love known. The process, the process of divine union has transformed the soul into the love it loves. The heart pierced by the love of Christ is made all love. Its expression cannot be anything other than an expression of love to God. Remember that being seeks expression in order to make itself known, in order to know itself. This is why a being reaches its fullness when this occurs.
What else can the beloved of Christ give but love? The beloved no longer knows how to live in the world, since she wants to live entirely embraced by her divine lover. Thus the soul is torn between dying of love and longing to join what she loves most, until she resolves that dilemma and realizes, by the grace received, that such a choice is unnecessary. The soul decides to live for the love it is, and thus remain forever in the presence of her beloved. Once the soul has joined Christ, she understands that she has been transformed into Christ. In effect, she recognizes love as her essence and therefore her identity. She no longer distinguishes between lover and beloved, creator and created, but what makes love love and therefore expresses it. Being love is the origin and the destiny of the soul.
Your heart can embrace love because love is pure abstraction, even though it can take shape. To remain in love is to remain united to the energy that God is. To say that love is an energy is not precise, but it will help you understand. Remember that what love is cannot be put into words, but you know how to feel it. I speak to you as a loving mother who reminds you of what you already know, since it is part of your innate knowledge as a human spirit. Doing something, getting moving with what you feel for God, is the way to grow in divine relationship. I say, get moving, so that you understand that the action or renunciation of action when the soul has joined Christ arises from the heart and does not necessarily refer to anything external. Doing or not doing is not the issue. The question always is one of being.
Christ, child of heaven, being the divine love in which you have been transformed is something that can begin to be expressed here and now. You need not go anywhere or wait. I encourage you to take the step towards an expression of the love you feel for your Creator. That expression will be perfect as it is, not according to the criteria of the world, but of heaven. The love which in your freedom you choose to express in your divine relationship will be what really causes the effects of holiness.
The expression of the call to serve love is also a path that you walk. Once you freely decide to take this step, you will find that you move from one point to another. The expression is born, moves forward, recedes, changes, explores, discovers, and is realized. All these phases are necessary. All are part of the work to which you are called. Your work, which is also God's, will have a very personal tone and color. Nothing else will be like it. The love that inspires your particular mode of expression will be recognized. It will make hearts thirsty for love. Jump. Something in the soul of those brothers and sisters that your expression touches will feel called to meet the inspirer. They will want to have what you have. This will activate in them a movement to desire God more until, like you, they become completely inflamed in her.
You are called to something big. Heaven itself is inviting you to be a co-creator of a new heaven and a new earth, in which a direct relationship with God is the foundation. You have everything you need for this. You are part of the divine plan for this new creation. Nothing more needs to be received from God's work to be done through you. Arise from your bed, soul in love, and join the movement of the transformed of Christ in a new way. Your work is necessary for creation.
Sing to life, write to love. Embrace the joy. Express what you have become because of your encounter with Christ. Share your glory, and you will reach the desires of your heart. Give life to that mystical feeling that calls you to join the love that God is. For that is the service to which your being is called. It is the way to serve your soul. What form it takes matters not. Only the love with which you do it. Look not for an inspiration other than your own, that which is given in your heart. When you express your being, when you express your love for God in your particular way, you are expressing your being. Remember also that there is no such thing as two separate parts that a relationship holds together. You have reached the point where you are the relationship and what is related within it. You are a unit. God has taken your being and made you one with her. You are nothing but God in you, the living Christ, who lives in your being. You can now understand the truth that says, love and do what you want.
You will never be without inspiration. You may need to rest for a while, and you may think that means you have nothing to give, or that you have somehow stopped being inspired. Please listen to me. That is impossible. I bring this up here so you don't fall into the temptation of feeling that you have nothing to give. You always have to give of yourself. For whatever you may feel or think, it is Christ who is feeling and thinking that. Even the slightest trace of the expression of your heart carries within it all the power of heaven and earth.
I just want to read that last sentence again. Even the slightest trace of the expression of your heart carries within it all the power of heaven and earth. No expression of love for God is not clothed in glory. The divine mantle of love has every feeling and thought that the heart in love carries with itself. This is why you should no longer worry about how or what you will express. Just take care to follow the inspirations of your heart. They will unfailingly take you to the true expression of your being. Now, beloved of Christ, I leave you with a heart full of love and contentment, so that you embrace the beauty of who you really are and live happily in the blissful recognition of your purity and holiness. Listen to whispers of love and holiness from the angels.
Let the heart in love that has put all thought and feeling alone in God rejoice. In God, you find glory and joy, living without care because God is your only desire, blissfully passing through the waves of the stormy sea or calm waters. Nothing bothers you. Nothing affrights you. You know that God, whom you love, has become one with you. Amen.
Thank you very much for giving your voice to these words. And now we have the rest of the gathering to share whatever you feel or you think related to this message, or whatever the Holy Spirit inspires you to share, either in silence or using your voice. You can ask questions, you can share any experience that you feel moved to do so. And as we always do, I'm going to share briefly what I received about this message, just as a bridge to the dialogue from heart to heart. As we know here in this movement of beautiful love, we don't have teachers, we don't have students, we don't have masters or someone who is more wise than others. We are all equal in the presence of the divine wisdom. And as this message says, we all have something to give, something very important, not special, but very important, not special, but essential, which is much, much more deeper than being special. So my sharing is going to be one of those manifestations that come from the divine wisdom to help us to immerse into the energy of dialogue. Dialogue is extremely important for the movement of beautiful love. And that is because our Divine Mother says that creation is a dialogue, love is a dialogue. There is a constant dialogue of beauty, love, and wisdom and purity between our soul and Christ constantly. And we can get into that dialogue. And that is what we do here also when we immerse our humanity into the energy of dialogue, of love. We create everything in a dialogue. A dialogue of love is a dialogue in which we become one in the presence of the truth through sharing our hearts. No one wants to convince anyone about anything. We just become channels of the divine wisdom. And when we do that, we enjoy the beauty of union, because we begin to remember and to experience that the other is one face of God. And we can know that aspect of God through what we call the other, when we are connected from heart to heart. And this is what we do here. Returning back to the state of dialogue, of union, which is love. Here in this message appears the most radical message that this movement of beautiful love is bringing to humanity according to the Holy Spirit. And that this radical message is that we become God because of his love. Here is the most important element of our transformation and the most challenging aspect of it for our thinking mind. Because here, Christ is telling us there's no something like you and me anymore. There is a complete and full union between you and me. So which is the gift that we receive as human beings? The gift is God. We become divinized. We become immersed into the essence and reality of God. That is why we are human beings, because we have the capacity to receive the divine reality and to become one with Him. Jesus said once to me, so far, spirituality was, trespassing limits of the thinking mind, but it reaches the point in which finally humanity was able to accept that you can have a relationship of love with God. That is what we call the mystical union. But now you are in a new time, and you will go one step ahead. We are going to live beyond that, to the experience that now you become God. What does it mean for us? It means what it says. Once we received the divine reality into our heart, when we return back to union, we are transformed into a new being, and that new being is divine. Everything that comes from God lives in that new being that was transformed by the Christ consciousness. So from now, God is no longer a father, a mother, a friend, a brother, a sister, an energy, an ideology, an idea, a dogma, a concept. From now on, we will integrate more and more vividly the truth that says that I transformed you into a divine being. Human and divine united at the truth of who you are. That's why we say constantly in this revelation, I am the living Christ who lives in me. That is the fundamental stone that creates the whole building of this manifestation. And this is the most radical revelation that humanity received ever, according to Jesus. Because we have never been able before to accept that we become divine. He went beyond these words, telling me, now when I see you, I see me, because you became a mirror of the divine reality. And when he says me, talking to me, he is talking to the whole humanity, to the entire creation. Union means that. Union. So there is no separation. There's no distance between something like you and I. Finally, we integrate the divine reality into our humanity. And that is the moment in which we begin to experience the revelation in a new way. We no longer say there was Jesus talking to me, or Mary talking to me, or angels or archangels or whomever, or you name it. You begin to realize that there is only one voice, the voice of Christ, who is manifested in so many different ways. And now we are ready to accept that that is your true voice. Christ is your true consciousness. We don't need intermediaries anymore. because we are ready to incarnate the divine reality in us. We have millennials of thoughts that God and us are separate in one way or another. Even in the traditional mystical union, there was a separation because there was an I and a you. But now they are integrated into who you are. We become completely divine. Human and divine, embodiments of love, the humanized Christ that only you can be. We can imagine God, the infinite love, the reality of truth, as a light that is fulfilling vessels of holiness. We are one of those vessels. But you know what? There is a moment in which the vessel disappears. And then you are just one ray of the infinite sun shining, which is divine love. This is the gift that we receive. We receive the essence of God to be transformed into the divine. This is the mystery of all mysteries, according to Jesus. And this is the reason why he said no one could answer properly the question of who you are. Because your thinking mind creates resistance to this idea, to this truth, to this revelation. Creates resistance to the knowing that you are transformed into a divine being. Not because of what you did, not because of what you think, not because of your behaviors, just because you are my son. And this is the gift of the mother to the son, to become divine. I invite you to keep these words in your heart and to meditate about this in the joy of the understanding that we are receiving a gift that cannot be put into words. The gift of the divine reality in us. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening to me and for allowing us to bring this wisdom into the here and now. Thank you for allowing us to remember this truth. I think Peter wants to say something. Please, Peter, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. A lot of faces I know. Hi. Long time ago I was here, actually. I want to go on in that what you say, there is no separation. But first of all, I want to share with you, in May, I went back to Holland. I landed in a city I do not know. I rent a room too much, too high. I pay for it. And a couple of weeks back, 2 weeks back actually, I opened my old phone for reasons I never opened my old phone. And there was my old landlord. Before I came to Holland, I sent everywhere out for a room, but there is no place in Holland, in The Hague. There are nothing to rent. That was my old landlord. In that time, she said, no, there is nothing. But now I open my phone And 2 weeks ago, she sent a message to me, Peter, I have a room for you. So I called her directly and she said, oh, Peter, you called me actually yesterday. I want to rent out my room, but something told me not to do that. And there I was. He said, and she's not a spiritual being in the way I will say a spiritual being is. She's not practicing anything. But she said, I feel not to do it. And now you're here. She said, it has to be that way. And she said, I'm so happy that you come back here. I will lower the rent for you too. So it's amazing. So I want to share that, how in this all taking care of me. And sometimes I have to be honest, sometimes I became a little bit bitter. And I say that to God also. So I want to share that also with God. That I say, I feel so bitter. You're not really helping me. And it feels good just to say that to God, what I feel. But now about separation. Yesterday I had a phone call with Alice. And, you said there is no separation. And I feel that, I know that. But I want to say some lines from the course of love. And I will ask you, for me, it's very happy making, to be honest, because I feel I understand something here. But I will ask you if you can shine your light on it. This is from a course of love. So I give some quotes. The choice to represent yourself in form was a choice for separation, but not because separation itself was desired as you have assumed. And then the next line, the means of creation is separation. And then the next line, you are asked to accept a new belief regarding the choice we have called the separation, a choice you have deemed as sin. And then the belief was based in logic, but the logic of the illusion, in which you believe you choose to separate from God out of defiance and a desire to be one with God no longer. This could not be further from the truth and is cause of all your suffering. I will once say for myself what it feels for me. It was a basic for fear always. Why have I chosen the separation? Why? If it was so beautiful with God, why did what I assumed, what I make up, I have chosen against God. What I hear is actually you never choose against God, but you make a bold decision to love, to express love in a new way. Or to, and anyway, it is an act of creation, what it is saying too. So this is actually all what I want to say about it. And maybe you can say something about it, Sebastián. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, very much for what you share. And we are happy to know that you found a room where you wanted to be. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and it is in The Hague, by the way. It's in The Hague, where my children live.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And going to your question about separation, I believe, based on my own spiritual path, that it is important to connect with that experience and to forgive us for that. Because we feel guilty feelings about that. Those guilty feelings are manifested in so many different ways. For instance, through the expression of the idea that we are miserable sinners, or that we are somehow wrong in one way or another. We think that God made a mistake because something was wrong in creation. Those kind of feelings and thoughts are part of our mental and emotional patterns, universally speaking. All of them, according to Jesus Christ, come from from a deep, deep idea and belief that you are not enough. So we are invited to open our mind and our heart to the revelation of the truth, to begin to understand everything from the perspective of love, and to ask the following question: can love give us something that hurts us? We know the answer. So the human experience is what we believe it is. It is something miserable, something limited, something that comes from a mistake, something that comes from a lack of obedience and love, no matter how that is manifested in our experience, in our beliefs. This is a way of thinking about us that comes from the idea of not being enough, according to Jesus. And that is exactly the idea that I want you to take it away from you. Every time that you feel or you observe yourself that you are thinking in that way, just come back to me so I can show you the truth. There's no mistake in creation. How can you be a mistake? How can human beings can be a mistake? How can the universe be a mistake? Maybe we don't understand the totality. Maybe we are having some interpretations that are not in harmony with the truth. When we begin to connect with this, we begin to find something very powerful, Peter, which is the following. When we are in union with our true essence, when we are in harmony with Christ, we begin to see the superior order in everything and everyone, and we see how perfect everything is, not just as a concept, but as a divine design, as a divine architecture. In that state of consciousness, which doesn't come from our thinking mind, we begin to experience the perfection of creation, and we begin to understand the holiness of this experience. Separation is a gift that comes from the divine mercy to everyone and everything. And maybe in some groups or some ideologies, this expression sounds like a blasphemy. But it is not. It is the truth, because everything comes from love, and everything comes ultimately from God. So how can we have the capacity to walk through an experience, and that experience can be called as something wrong? If you are wrong, Jesus says, I'm wrong. If your brothers and sisters are wrong, I'm wrong. So can you now say honestly and deeply in your heart that whenever you think that there's something wrong in your life and in humanity, you are speaking from the truth? If we go deeper into the truth of who we are, we know the answer to that question is no. So we are invited to be open to receive from the Holy Spirit a new understanding, a new knowledge that can transform your life and transform this whole universe. And this is not a metaphor. This is a spiritual law. Your manifestation, your life, my life, everyone's life, is an expression of who we believe we are. Jesus says the universe doesn't give you what you think or what you desire or what you ask for. The universe simply manifests who you are. If you think you are a miserable sinner, the universe will manifest that to you because you are asking for through your identity. And that keeps you in the realm of illusion because that is an illusion. But once you take distance from all your beliefs, all your interpretations, and you become one with the silence of your heart, and you allow the divine reality to be manifested through you, you return back to what you are, a channel of the divine reality, a little baby in the arms of a mother. Little babies don't create theories. They don't try to understand anything. They don't create concepts. They just are who they are. When we return back to that state of consciousness, we take distance from the illusory identity that we created, and we begin to live in harmony with the universe, and we know in that state of consciousness that everything is a divine bliss. We begin to bliss the universe and everything and everyone. How can this universe be wrong if this universe show you Christ? How can this dimension and this experience could be a miserable experience if it has the capacity to help you to return back to love? Where did you find Christ? Here, in this world. Where did you remember who you are? In this world, here. So if this world has the capacity to help you to return back to love and to become divine, because this experience has the capacity to help you to go and to move to a state of consciousness in which you become completely united with God. Why do you think this is wrong? If it gives you eternity, it gives you God, it gives you the possibility to return back to the truth of who you are. Jesus asked a very beautiful question about this, and he says, isn't it a word like that, a word that deserves your reverence, love, and blessings? That is the forgiven world that A Course in Miracles talks, according to me. When you begin to see this world as the sacred expression of God that gives your soul the possibility to return back to love and to become more, you begin to forgive everything, to forgive your separation, to forgive your way of understanding, to forgive this world, to forgive the human experience. And we begin to be open to see the light in everything and everyone. And everything changes when we move from one state of consciousness to another one, as I mentioned before. because we begin to love ourselves and to love everything, understanding everything from the perspective of God. So I believe finally that it is very, very important to go deeper into what we understand about separation and the guilty feelings that we have related to that experience. Because at the end of the day, when we say separation is something wrong, I don't like separation, I feel guilty because I separated from God, and so on, ultimately what we are saying is, I don't like this human experience, I don't like this world, I don't like this dimension, and there might be something wrong with you. Means God. With you is God. And this is exactly the fundamental of separation. The idea that God did something wrong and you are incarnating that mistake. That is the essence of separation. And that is exactly what we are called to take away from us and give our way of understanding and thinking and making interpretations to the divine reality. And you will see the wonder of who you are, here, now, and always. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening to me. I think Reverend Rita wants to say something. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Sebastián, because what you expressed so clearly and beautifully gives understanding to a part in the Course of Miracles that sometimes, often, almost always has been hard to understand. And it says, let all things be exactly as they are. And what you said is, when you align with love, when you align with Source, that's when you can let everything be exactly, because that's when you see the perfection. But the caveat is that joining with love, which is what you are. Another part of the Course says, love created me like itself. And so this reading brought that to mind to me, that there's no distance between Source and what I truly am. Love and the source of love are a unit, like you said in the reading. And there's some things that jumped out at me, like doing or not doing is not the issue. It said the question is one of being. And when I get lost and I come back to being, it's this moment of now, which is the essence of being for me. And everything is as it should be. And I get in touch again with the love that I am. And it clears up. And he said, your your word is also God's, but it has a personal tone, and it might inspire others, right, to want to meet the inspirer, and which is interesting, because what is the inspirer? It's the love in our hearts. It's the love that we are. And so when I see someone expressing love, it inspires me to get in touch with that inspirer, which is the love in their heart. So that's pretty cool. And it says when we do this, it talked about the mystical feeling that calls you to join the love that is God. And when we do that, when we join, it's a way of serving our soul. I thought, wow, a way of serving our soul. And thank you. That was this reading is very beautiful and powerful, and being here, my soul always brings me. The love in my heart brings me here. And I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Richard Joy, very much for what you share and for your presence. And thanks, the Holy Spirit, for moving your soul to be here, which is always a gift for us. So thank you very much. And I think Alice wants to say something. Please, Alice, go ahead, and then Jennifer.
Part of me didn't want to say anything because I feel a little bit vulnerable at what I'm going to say. I think this has been a very deep session we've had today. And running through the depth, and I feel it all, is running through me is a feeling of what's it all about? What's the use of life? That's what I'm feeling at the moment these days. At the same time, I know the love of God. I know and feel the love of the mother. I feel all these things, but I have a very, very, very heavy heart. And even when I go to what I know and I feel it, it feels almost temporary compared to what this heavy heart of mine is sort of, oh, I can't explain what I mean. It's just a very heavy heart. I just have a very, very heavy heart right now. And it's sad and it's lonely and it just makes me wonder what the use of life is, really. I'd much rather be in the spiritual worlds most of the time because this world isn't easy for me right now, and maybe for some of us at different times. And when I'm feeling joyous and when I'm feeling light, I think light is the word, both light in heart and in mind. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. But I have a heavy heart, and I'm feeling a lot of grief at Rod not being here, and I didn't know this was going to be like this. But I do ask myself, why are we here? And I know we are here to receive God's love. I know that. I meditate with it. I feel the love coming to me. I know that. But I still have a heavy heart at the moment. And it's been going on for a while. And that's why I said it's a very vulnerable thing for me to share this right now. And I could say more, but I'm not going to because I'll probably start crying. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice, very much for what you shared. And I think Jennifer wants to say something.
Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you, Alice, and everyone else who shared, and for all of you for being here. So these calls are very early now in the morning for me, and they're at 6:30 a.m. and the alarm went off, and I snoozed and I snoozed, and And then I was starting to fall asleep, and this little bird started chirping right outside my window, really loud. And there's no trees outside my window where I am. And I said, okay, I need to get up and be on the call. So Sebastian, you have little messengers, little feathery messengers coming in.
Doesn't allow you to sleep more.
That's right. It's like get on the call, get on the holy encounter. Uh, but what I wanted to just share and express, uh, I guess it kind of goes into part of the reason why we're here. What is the purpose in life? And, we discuss that, in every one of our sessions. And, we're here to be obviously extensions and channels of the divine and be a physical form of the divine and so much more. Uh, but I wanted to share how important our presence is in the world. Um, I was at a holiday gathering on Sunday at a neighbor's house, and a lot of new people, and then some of their friends who I'd met in the past, and we've gone out and done things. And the first person that the divine had me come and speak to was a gentleman who uh, he's like in the leadership of the yacht club, the California Yacht Club, and he's been an owner of a nightclub. And if you know anything about yachting and boating and clubbing, it's a lot of partying, you know. And he proceeded to tell me, I think I haven't seen him in a year and a half, but proceeded to tell me how he just finished A Course in Miracles. And it was a 1 year commitment, and my eyes practically popped out of my head. I'm like looking at him and I'm just listening to what he's sharing and how he has a spiritual practice and he's lost weight and like all of these things. And I'm like, is this the same human being that and he was proceeding to tell me about how he was and who he is now. And I encouraged him and I supported him. And Sebastian, I told him about your work and I told him about the Course in Love and that I had just finished being part of the Awakened Lifestyle Expo. And he's like, oh, I would have loved to have gone to that. So, we just never know who we're supposed, as we step into a room, Spirit's going to guide us where we're needed as we step out the door, the synchronistic people that we run into, that we can just encourage them, lead them to what's next in their path, because it's not us leading them, it's the divine leading them, to go from a state of where he was to get to A Course in Miracles is a miracle in and of itself right there, so um, I just wanted to share, when we step out the door and engage with humanity, the animal kingdom, nature, there's, it's really is miraculous what, uh, what shows up, what happens in our life. Um, and it just gives us inspiration. It gives us inspiration. And I know now with this person that there will be deeper dialogues, deeper dialogues. Um, and this is happening all over the planet, all over the planet. And uh, they don't know why it's happening to him. He doesn't know why this is happening to him, but he's awakening, right? He's awakening into Christ consciousness. He's awakening to, this is someone who's retired, who has money, who's living the life, right? So they think, and got to that, really depressed state of realizing I have everything that I thought I was supposed to have that would bring me happiness and fulfillment and joy, and he had none of that. And that's what finally, I believe, brought him to the Course, or he must have gotten to that state of surrender that got him to the Course in Miracles. But I just wanted to share that, and it's just amazing to see how humanity is evolving and growing and how much we're needed in the world. Just our presence, our energy, our vibrancy, our vitality. And and yes, of course, we have times in our life, like Alice was sharing, where we do have a heavy heart. And it's how do we process and work through that heaviness to get back into more of a state of uh, illuminating divine love and light and processing through that shadow time. But that will pass. That will pass as well. It's just sometimes we just need to grieve and allow ourselves to grieve and feel the feelings and let it go. But there is also a beautiful process to let it go. So, anyways, thank you for letting me share. I'm complete.
Thank you, Jennifer, very much for what you shared. I think Ruben wants to say something. Please, Ruben, go ahead.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. My father and I are one. There is no separation between the conflict and I. We're one. There is no separation between my father and I. There's pure love. I'm learning to love the totality of myself. And when my heart, or when these illusions, or when this pain, or this conflict appear, they're just telling me, hey, Ruben, listen to me. I am part of you. Listen. Sometimes I get lost with them too. Yesterday I was in love. Suddenly a situation showed up. A situation that I thought we were in good terms. And I'm like, wow, I lost the relationship with this situation. And of course, the situation started to embrace me because I let it. And I stayed there for hours and hours and hours. And I didn't know how to get out of there. I got trapped in the situation. I just need to take a nap, I told myself, and be with my father. I went to my room, 5 minutes, embrace the light, become one with that. And from that place, I started listening to the situation. Because the situation, the conflict is me. But now that we know the truth, okay, I'm ready. Let's talk. And yeah, we become one again. But I know that we are spirit, we are love, we are everything. Sometimes I forgot about it, and I'm learning to be one with everything. There is no more conflict. The thinking might think is conflict, but there's no conflict. There is only love. I just need to find the love that is in me. I just need to find the love that is in that conflict and talk to that one. And yes, when that conflict and I will realize that there is only love, there is no more conflict. And it used to be back and forth a lot, back and forth. It drove us crazy, but this is a relationship. Love is a relationship with everything. We are everything. And I forgot. We forgot. So whenever that situation approaches me, wherever it is, it can be through TV, through a neighbor, to an animal or whatever. At the end, Yes, we have an encounter like this, a holy encounter. And I listen to the pain. We cry each other because she forgot that I am peace and joy. I forgot too, and we keep talking about all this stuff, and we let love lead away. And at the end of the day, we thank each other, and we go back home with our Father, with oneness, with love. And it comes and goes, but it's less and less and less. That's my experience. So this morning, when we open this meeting and you start with that song, damn, that song is just driving me. I mean, it feels so good. It's a reminder. The first time that I heard that song was here with you, Sebastián, and I need to find this song. So I found it through Sarah, and I just listened it all day till I had enough. I say enough, Ruben, but that's my way of getting into all this stuff. To listen the truth, to listen the good stuff till I had enough. And I become that one. There is no more separation between that song and I. There is no more separation between love and I. We are one. So thank you for these holy encounters. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you, Ruben, very much for what you shared and for your presence. And thank everyone for being here today. We need to finish this holy encounter. And as we always do, we are going to close this session with a minute of silence and music that will help us to connect with our heart. But before that, I feel moved to share some particular experience that can be related to what Alice brings to this dialogue. And I do this because I think this feeling is a universal feeling that sometimes it comes to us. The feeling of, thinking and feeling actually, what am I doing here? Why am I here? And this brings me to an experience that I had when I was 6 years old, when I was part of a car accident in which my mother was driving, and one of my brothers passed away in that accident. And I felt the presence of Jesus very, very, very deeply. I don't need to get into details of that because I already shared this, but at that moment I felt the love of God so deeply and so connected to me that few months later, after that episode, I began to feel such a love to that reality that I began to think, why didn't you take me instead of my brother so I can be with you? It was it didn't come from a stage of not wanting to be here, but it came from a feeling of, because I know you, I want to be with you. So when is going to be the time in which you take my heart and my humanity completely into your embrace? That was the feeling that I had at that moment. And that was the same question that Alice brings here. What am I doing here? And Jesus answered to me that question in a very simple way that I think it can help us when we feel bad. He said, because I need you. Why am I here? because I need you. I think Jennifer gave us a beautiful explanation of what this means. Why are you here? Because God needs you. And when we begin to connect with that, we return to a state of acceptance, of inner peace, saying, I'm serving God. Yes, we are all serving love in a mysterious way that sometimes our thinking mind and our humanity doesn't understand, as Jennifer pointed out before. Because our thinking mind is so strange sometimes, but we can connect our heart with the truth that says, you are here because I need you. There was another dialogue in which Jesus said, there is a moment in human life in which the most beautiful and valuable gift that you can give me is when you don't want to keep going, when you don't understand why you are here, when your power and strength are gone and you feel like, I don't want to keep going. I don't want to be here anymore. And Jesus says, that moment is the most sacred moment in your human history. And that is the most valuable gift that I want to receive from you. Because you are where you are, because I need you. God needs you. Believe it or not, God needs all of us to be where we are, to be who we are, and we are accomplishing the purpose of God with our existence. Without understanding, with our thinking mind, we don't need to understand. We just need to trust. God needs you where you are and how you are. Thank you for listening to me. That understanding helped me very deeply in all of my life. Whenever I feel that my thinking mind is bringing to a state of asking, which is the purpose of this world, what I have to walk through all of this. I already know that this is not true, this is an illusion, I know everything. So, which is the purpose of being here? Then I go back to that episode that I mentioned before when I was 6 years old and remember the feelings that I had at that moment, because I need you. I need you where you are. I need you where you are. And that brings me to calm, to remember the truth. The truth that our life has a divine purpose as it is in every present moment. So thank you. Thank you very much for listening to me. And now I invite you to remain one more minute in silence before saying goodbye and to listen to a short movement. Thank you. Thank you very much and have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Lots of love.
Goodbye.
Everyone, have a great day.
Take
A
care.
beautiful week.
Thank you, everyone. Love you all so much.